Hello there, you're watching Nightline. I'm Anita. The top stories. COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated adoption of digital culture, says Prime Minister. Government enforces 7th phase of enhanced movement control order in Selayang Baru and Gombak. And China claims first coronavirus vaccine could be ready for the general public by early next year. Our headlining story. The government is aiming to speed up community digitalisation as part of the new normal. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the movement control order, enforced since March 18th, has led to an increase in the use of digital platforms and e-commerce, among others.
Saya dah mengambil ini sebagai satu daripada cabaran baru, iaitu bila kita nak ke hadapan selepas daripada ini, harapannya keadaan akan kembali semula seperti dahulu tapi dalam bentuk baru. Maka itu kita nak percepatkan proses pendigitalan masyarakat kita, baik dalam bidang pendidikan. Sepatutnya kalau kita sudah.
He said this in a television interview aired on TV3 on Saturday night. He said while farmers and fishermen faced challenges during the MCO, many have persevered and resorted to selling their produce online through e-commerce instead. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also pointed out the implementation of e-government, which was on 40% ready. He said he had instructed the relevant agencies to speed up the process as it was imperative for the government to work in advance by adopting digitalisation to enable the society to adapt to it. At the same interview, Tan Sri Muhyiddin also revealed that the country's economy is losing 2.4 billion ringgit each day that business is suspended during the movement control order. He, however, stressed that the MCO was necessary to curb the spread of COVID-19 and save lives despite knowing they would paralyse Malaysia's economic growth.
Jelas terbukti bahawa sehari perniagaan kita tak berjalan, kita rugi 2.4 bilion ringgit. Ya. Cuba kira berapa hari yang sudah kita kenakan PKP ini. Tetapi di samping itu disebabkan oleh kerana penting nak mengawal supaya wabak itu tak berjangkit mengebak keseluruhan dengan jumlah yang berpuluh-puluh ribu atau yang mati beribu macam yang berlaku di setengah negara, kita tidak ada pilihan.
His priority, he added, was to ensure there would be minimal job losses. To cushion the impact, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the Finance Ministry was given 2 weeks to formulate the economic stimulus package. He also said that the government was keeping small and medium enterprises in mind when formulating the stimulus packages, as they were an important pillar of the economy. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also stressed that since assuming the post of Prime Minister, politics had taken a back seat in his mind because he believed the people were more interested to know what the government was doing to solve the country's problems. Beginning April 25th, Selayang Baru in Gombak, Selangor has been placed under Enhanced Movement Control Order (EMCO). National Security Council Senior Minister for Security Cluster, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said this is the 7th area in the country to come under EMCO to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
PKPD ke-7 ini kita laksanakan bagi membendung jangkitan COVID-19 setelah kita mengambil kira kebarangkalian jalinan jangkitan COVID-19 di Pasar Harian Kuala Lumpur dan Pasar Borong Kuala Lumpur. Dan langkah ini akan membolehkan aktiviti pengesanan dilaksanakan sepanjang tempoh ini dikuatkuasakan.
Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the EMCO is to curb the possibility of virus transmission from the Selayang wholesale market nearby. He added all residents will be screened for COVID-19 and no one will be allowed in or out of the area. All businesses in the area will also be closed and police, armed forces and others will be on duty to ensure all residents observe the EMCO. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the country's border security will be further tightened. The move is to prevent the nation seeing a new cluster imported as the battle to fight the COVID-19 pandemic continues.
Sebenarnya pihak berkuasa telah pun mengenal pasti semua lorong-lorong tikus sama ada di pantai barat Semenanjung, termasuk juga di Sabah, di pantai Sabah, termasuk juga jalan darat melalui Sarawak. Jadi kita telah pun mengenal pasti kesemuanya. Oleh itu, kawalan di kawasan sempadan termasuk lorong-lorong tikus diperketatkan dan diperhebatkan.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri, who was also Defence Minister, said 84 individuals had been arrested for encroaching into the country since the enforcement of the Movement Control Order, MCO. He stressed that Malaysia aims at avoiding seeing a new COVID-19 cluster, and strengthening border security would help towards this end. The senior minister said 131 Malaysians who recently returned to the country from abroad had undergone the mandatory quarantine were found positive for COVID-19. He said this indicated that the government had made the right decision in implementing mandatory quarantine for citizens who returned from overseas. In a separate development, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the Football Association of Malaysia, FAM, has been firmly told that the Malaysian League matches will not be granted any form of exemption whatsoever. He pointed out that the current Standard Operating Procedure, SOP, under the Movement Control Order, MCO, disallows any gathering, and a football match is already a breach of the regulations.
SOP standard yang kita keluarkan bahawa perkumpulan tidak dibenarkan. Bola tidak boleh bermain seorang-seorang. Mesti ada tim. Ya, jadi maknanya kalau dua tim sudah lebih di atas padang saja sudah ada 22. Ya, 22 orang. Dan bola tidak seperti badminton single. Sebelah sana tak bertemu dengan sebelah sini. Kerana mungkin akan berlaku kontak secara fizikal di antara satu sama lain. Jadi berdasarkan SOP standard tentu saja kita tidak boleh membenarkan.
The FAM previously had requested special exemption and a new SOP specifically to allow the Malaysia League to complete its tournament, which has been suspended since March. This is despite calls of caution coming from its own fan base. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri further said that even after the MCO period is over, mass public gatherings are still banned nationwide to ensure that the novel coronavirus will not make a comeback in Malaysia. Those wishing to make interstate travels for purposes allowed under the Movement Control Order, MCO, must apply through the Govt Malaysia application starting Sunday. Bukit Aman CID Director Datuk Huzair Mohamad said eligible persons could apply online following an authorisation of the interstate travel for 3 days from May 1st to 3rd. In a statement today, the CID director said those who apply through the Govt Malaysia application on Sunday will need to update their applications on April 29th to confirm their destinations. The status of the application can also be checked on May 1st online. He said those who did not have the Govt Malaysia application must submit a written application for a permit to travel at the nearest police station. However, he said travel priority would be given to users of the Govt Malaysia application. Datuk Huzair stressed that road users were required to plan their journey according to the stipulated conditions during the period. Those using the North-South Expressway are reminded that no eating facility is provided at the rest end service R&R areas. The surau will be closed and any congregational prayer activity at the R&R is not allowed, including in any building, open area, car park area and others. Only public toilets at the R&R were allowed to be operational, while the car park area is only allowed for the purpose of resting. He said a media conference will be held on April 29th on the movements according to state to ensure their journeys are smooth and orderly. Malaysia registered 51 COVID-19 infections as of noon today, but new recoveries continue to outpace fresh cases. According to Health Director General Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, 99 more patients have been discharged, which means full recoveries have reached nearly 2/3 of all cases.
Terdapat 51 kes baru yang telah dilaporkan kepada CPRC. Ini menjadikan jumlah kes positif COVID-19 di Malaysia adalah sebanyak 5,742 kes. Oleh itu, jumlah kes aktif dengan kebolehjangkitan COVID-19 adalah 1,882 kes dan mereka telah diasingkan dan diberi rawatan di hospital.
Dato Dr. Noor Hisham also announced 2 new COVID-19 fatalities in the country, taking Malaysia's death toll to 98. The deceased, a Malaysian man and Malaysian woman, were both 62 and with a history of chronic diseases. Now, at the same media conference, Dato Dr. Noor Hisham said there are signs that Malaysians are getting somewhat complacent, likely emboldened by the drop in daily COVID-19 positive cases. He said those living in COVID-19 free districts or green zones may have begun to take the Movement Control Order MCO lightly, and this is a development that is worrying for the Health Ministry.
Kementerian Kesihatan juga khawatir masyarakat alpa lalu mengambil mudah nasihat-nasihat kesihatan yang telah dikeluarkan kerana memikirkan wabak ini hampir selesai. Pada hakikatnya, peperangan menentang musuh yang tidak kelihatan ini masih belum berakhir.
As of noon, the number of green zones nationwide remains at 26. Most were in the northern peninsula states and predominantly rural or semi-urban areas. The Health DG has issued similar daily warnings about the possibility of more infections should the MCO be lifted too quickly, and has advised decision makers that now is not the time to ease up on restrictions as calls mount for the economy to be reopened. Meanwhile, the Health Director General voiced concern over reports of overcrowding at Menara City 1 condominium during the COVID-19 tests conducted by the Health Ministry. Dr. Noor Hisham said the incident happened because residents at 2 of its towers went down for the tests simultaneously.
It is indeed a concern to the ministry because when we check in terms of, we look into the report, an announcement was made only for Menara A. But those, residents from Menara B also came down together. So there was a congestion there. And we hope that in terms of the implementation, we can actually improve and practice social distancing among the residents.
He said that his officers there had worked together with the police to calm the situation down and avoid it from escalating. They had also taken steps to ensure that social distancing was observed. It has been almost a month since Menara City 1 was placed under the Enhanced Movement Control Order, EMCO. The condominium unit has recorded 51 positive COVID-19 cases so far.
Take some time for us to make sure the social distancing.
The government will stick to its decision to convene the Dewan Rakyat for a single day on May 18th. Parliamentary and Law Minister Datuk Taqiyuddin Hassan in a statement said the decision is based on the current situation and developments, especially as it involves efforts to control and end the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the immediate and important efforts to assist the people to handle its after effects. He said the government's decision is based on existing laws and rules, taking into consideration the needs, views and sentiments of all parties voiced, officially or unofficially. Datuk Taqiyuddin added the government took note of Pakatan Harapan's views and suggestions, but the coalition had failed to understand the priorities of the government and the country. He explained that the main issue was the safety of all those involved in the one-day meeting. The one-day meeting notification was issued by Dewan Rakyat Secretary Ridwan Rahmat to MPs via email on April 17th. The MPs were also told that only laws and government-related matters would be the focus of the meeting, and there would be no question time or motions raised in the House. Coming up next on the Bulletin, farmers and fishermen use barter system to avoid wastage. Do stay with us. Welcome back, still on Nightline. In a bid to reduce wastage of fresh food, farmers and fishermen in Pahang are exchanging food or using the barter system at the Barter Valley in Cameron Highlands. Among the food items are fish and crops, which are exchanged during the Movement Control Order MCO. Fresh seafood products from Pantai Remis are also exchanged with Tanah Rata vegetable products. It is the 4th time that the barter system was implemented in Tanah Rata during the MCO period. It was due to logistics and transportation problems during the MCO period, which makes it difficult for fishermen and farmers to send food supplies to sellers. We're taking a quick break now. When we return, Saudi Arabia abolishes flogging as a form of punishment. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. On to international headlines. China may have a vaccine against the deadly COVID-19 for emergency use by September and for the general public early next year. Head of the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Govt, said that the country could have a vaccine available in time for a potential second wave of outbreaks. Speaking to state-run media, China Global Television Network, Gao said these newly developed vaccines, which are still under Phase 2 or Phase 3 clinical trials, could be used for some special groups of people, for example, healthcare workers. He added that the country may have a vaccine for the healthy population early next year, but stressed that its feasibility would depend on progress of development. This is the first time a Chinese official has put an estimate on the timescale for development of a coronavirus vaccine, believed to be the key to containing the global pandemic. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration previously said it believes a vaccine in the United States could be at least a year away, while the World Health Organization, WHO, has said that it could take 12 to 18 months. The total number of confirmed cases in China, where the virus first emerged, is now 82,816. The death toll remains the same at 4,632, with no new deaths reported on April 24th. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization, WHO, warned on Saturday against countries issuing so-called immunity passports to those recovered from COVID-19. The WHO said in a statement that there is currently no evidence that people who have recovered from COVID-19 and have antibodies are protected from a second infection. The warning suggests that the issuance of immunity passports may promote the continued spread of the pandemic. Indonesia reported on Saturday 396 new coronavirus cases, taking the total number to 8,607. According to data provided by Health Ministry official, 31 more people who had tested positive for the virus died, taking the total number of deaths to 720. It is understood that US President Donald Trump would be sending ventilators and unspecified help to Indonesia at the request of President Joko Widodo, after both leaders held a call on Friday to discuss ways to collaborate during the pandemic, including on how to overcome the protective gear and mask shortages faced by both countries. The world's fourth most populous country has been hit hard by the virus, with the highest numbers of deaths in Asia outside of China. Singapore's health ministry confirmed another 618 new COVID-19 cases on Saturday, taking the total count of coronavirus cases to 12,693. The ministry said that Singaporeans and permanent residents make up 7 of the new cases, with foreign workers living in dormitories still forming the vast majority, as in recent weeks. A total of 25 dormitories have been gazetted as isolation areas. The number of new COVID-19 cases in Russia has risen by 5,966 over the past 24 hours, bringing its nationwide tally to 74,588 cases. The country's coronavirus crisis response center also reported 66 new deaths from COVID-19, bringing the total death toll in Russia to 681. The number of cases in Russia began rising sharply this month, although it had reported far fewer infections than many Western European countries in the early stages of the outbreak. Now let's have a quick look at the highlights of Malaysia's main newspapers for Sunday, April 26th, awaiting you. The New Sunday Times highlights Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin's first interview as Prime Minister, whereas Harian Metro focuses on the 14,000 foreigners living in Selayang who have failed to adhere to the enhanced movement control order. Also putting PM's special interview on its front page is Berita Harian. It highlights Tan Sri Muhyiddin's move to speed up digitalisation amongst Malaysians. Do get your copies today or subscribe to the e-paper versions. Now, teachers at 10B Setia Eco Gardens in Johor have gotten creative to ensure that Book Week at their school runs smoothly, even during this movement control order period. After teaching online, these teachers participated in a hashtag Slow It Down challenge that has been making the round on the internet, and baked cakes with a book covers theme to promote reading amongst their students. As we wrap up this bulletin, we leave you visuals of the finished products. With that, I'm Anita. Stay well. Good night, Malaysia.